What's up guys, my name is Carl and welcome to Tech Hunter. So today I'm looking at what was a budget friendly GPU just a couple of years ago, and that is the GTX 960. The one I have here is clearly quite a small card. It's the Gigabyte GTX 960 Mini, and I picked mine up for just £50. This card here, it's got 2 gigs of VRAM, 1024 CUDA cores, double that of the GTX 580 I checked out last time, and a base clock of 1164 MHz and a boost up to 1329 MHz. Launching with an MSRP of $200 back in January of 2015, a 4GB version was later available, but again at an increased price. A good thing about this GTX 960 though is that it only needs one 6-pin connector to keep it at full power. There are advantages and disadvantages to having this mini version. Obvious advantage is being its size and power draw, but you can lose out on some extra cooling and increased clock speeds out of the box. The 960 was released a few years ago, and as usual with X60 GPUs from Nvidia, they target budget gamers and always have and always will. They offer a massive performance increase compared to that of the X50 GPUs, and usually for not much extra of a price increase. I imagine there's probably still a lot of GTX 960s in use to this day, as a result of the inflation of GPU prices and their ability to still perform well at 1080p. The thing is that this card only costs £50 and will outperform many other popular low power budget cards. The really popular, really overpriced and really underpowered 750 Ti is no comparison to this 960, and this 960 can trade blows with today's £140 1050 Ti's. I'll be pairing this GTX 960 with an overclocked i7-6700K to give you some benchmarks later in this video. When it comes to inputs, this mini version of the GTX 960 has got it all covered. It's got a DVI connector, a full-size HDMI connector and DisplayPort too. The exterior of the card is also quite nice, being fairly bland and non-offensive. It's something I can appreciate, though it can look a bit ridiculous in a mid or full-size tower case, considering that it measures out at only 17 centimeters. Just bear in mind, if you were to pick up a full-size GTX 960, it would be larger and also offer, probably more than likely, improved performance on this mini 960 here. A good thing about this card is that it only has a low TDP of 120 watts, meaning that it will work with most basic power supplies found in older PCs, but it's recommended to be paired with a 400 watt PSU, so that kind of power supply is available for about £25 to £30 if your PC doesn't already have one. Now let's move on to benchmarking this card and see how well it performs in some more modern titles. As you can see from the footage, this GTX 960 is a serious powerhouse at this price range. I'll admit, I've gotten really lucky to be able to pick this card up for only £50, as I've not seen it anywhere else that you can get a 960 close to the price I paid. So for me personally, that gives it some extra value. But as far as performance is concerned, partnering this with a modern-ish CPU can offer up some really impressive frame rates in games at 1080p. If I had a 1080p monitor and I was on a budget, I wouldn't look any further than a GTX 960. As a result of the impressive performance, I'm looking at building a mini ITX PC or micro ATX PC to house this tiny beast in, so I get the feeling this won't be the last you guys see of this card. So, to conclude, the GTX 960 is a budget beast, easily affordable in the used market for less than a GTX 1050, and a GTX 1050 Ti offers similar performance to that of the latter for a much reduced price. Though the newer cards don't require any PCIe cables to connect to them from the PSU, or do they draw as much power, I'm sure that one 6-pin cable is hardly too much to ask, and the small wattage increase is enough to justify a nearly £90 difference. As always, if you like this kind of stuff, feel free to click that like button, and if you didn't, click that dislike button. Leave your comments down below, let me know what you thought of today's video, and if my face hasn't offended you, click that subscribe button and we'll see each other again soon. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.